Hello, everybody. It's Colin here. Thanks for joining me again on the Colin on Culture podcast. And huge thanks to everybody who sends me feedback, which I really appreciate. And to those people that go ahead and share the podcast on LinkedIn and with their friends. If you think someone would benefit from these short 15 minutes insights, I'd really appreciate you sharing it with others. And today, I'm going to give you some insights in what vibrant cultures do. And then you can decide which one of those you're going to pick and what you're going to work on, because they tend to do similar things. And so where am I going to start? With the most obvious thing? Let's start with human factors. So the thing that vibrant cultures do that you can copy is they make time to build relationships between the humans on their team. And yes, I'm very deliberately talking about humans because often we forget to see each other as human beings who are just doing the best with what they can to get the job done. That's ultimately what we're doing. And it works much, much better if we actually spend a little bit of time relationship building. Now, I don't mean days and weeks and months and years. I don't mean divulging all of your personal information. All I mean is actually spending some time talking to each other, an hour, half an hour, to understand each other's personalities, to understand how to communicate to each other, if there are any neurodivergent issues, the things that we need to think about. All of these things that we do generate empathy. And vibrant cultures, what they have is empathy as a standard. And that's the glue that binds these teams together. Now, another thing that they do in relation to that is they don't allow any one human to undermine the safety in the team for anybody else. So they're really good at performance management, setting expectations, and ensuring that the behavior standards exist for all. No one is above or below the behavior standard. It's the standard for everybody. And that's because they've agreed it. They've actually spent some time agreeing. These are the behaviors that we as a team need to uphold, not only to be human towards each other, to have respect and empathy, but also to have the discipline, drive, and focus to get the job done. There isn't a human being in work who doesn't want to have a productive day. We all want to turn up every day, do the thing that we're asked to do to keep the boss off our back, and do it to a quality such that I can be proud of it, and then work with other people on that, go home knowing I've done a job well done. This is what vibrant cultures do. They create a standard, a behavioral standard, and also a collaboration standard. And when it comes to collaboration, what vibrant cultures do that you can copy is they don't waste time. They think about what are the things that we can do to ensure that we get the most out of our days. Not for them 1,000 Teams channels that everybody's copied into that you get notified every 30 seconds. Not for them sending out emails with 1,000 people copied in, or even just 10 people copied in. They really give some thought. How do we communicate? What do we do in person? What can we do virtually? Which tools do we use? And how do we make sure that they support our productive effort and they don't get in the way of productive effort? Also, they make really good decisions around their priorities. They recognize that if we're to work together to get work done, it's crucially important that people know this is the most important thing. And so what vibrant cultures do that you can copy is every month, every 3 months, is come together as a management team and say, what are the things that we need to work on right now? One organization I worked with recently, they bring the team together every Monday morning for what they call a virtual stand-up, a VSU. And in that, they talk about what are the priorities for the week. They make sure that everyone understands who's responsible for what. And then they check in throughout the week with each other. This is not about the manager micromanaging. It's about the team checking in with each other, letting know what's been completed, what's left to do. And when they've completed work, then there's a celebration of success within the team. And that's another thing that vibrant cultures do that you can copy, is they make celebrating success a priority. It's not something that's just cast aside and never thought of. They recognize the impact that celebrating the success can have on morale. Of course, when things don't go to plan, they're also great at holding people to account, talking about what they've learned. But it makes the celebration that much sweeter when you do something really well. When we celebrate success in a meaningful way, it gives us a sense of pride, a sense of optimism about what's possible, and it allows us to move forward as one team. But of course, as I just mentioned, what vibrant cultures do that you can copy is that they learn from the failures. Not everything goes according to plan. Not every communication is exactly the way you want it. Not every bit of code is written in the way that you want it. Not every process occurs in the way that we would like to be more efficient. So we recognize when things are broken. And we say, what can we learn from that? We don't have a failure stick that we beat people with. We actually ask each other, okay, well, this has happened. What do we now need to do to change such that it doesn't happen? And that's another thing that you can learn. They don't make the same mistakes over and over again. One vibrant culture that I work with in the project management space, we actually made an agreement about what good looked like. Many projects had failed, they'd gone over time and they'd gone over budget. And that was then the norm. And so we made agreements as a team. Okay, well, how do we make sure that if we go over time, we do it in a different way? And then we learn from that and feed that back in. We have this continual learning process and almost a learning culture. And that's something else that you can copy. Is what vibrant cultures do is they bring people together and they educate them. Now that sounds very formal. It sounds very much like it's in a classroom, and some of it is. The learning programs very much focus on how can we teach managers how to build great culture? How can we give employees agency over their own culture such that they see a sense of responsibility for upholding, maintaining, and positively evolving the culture? And that's through drip feeding little pieces of education here and there. We're constantly learning. And what you find is in these kind of cultures, actually people outside of work will take steps to educate themselves such that they can bring that back into the working environment. That contributes to this overall learning culture. And when you get that, what you get is employees who are then contributing to values. Now, the thing that vibrant cultures do that you can copy here is that their values actually mean something. They've thought about who do we need to involve in this values creation process? And what do they mean in practice? How do we ensure that it's not just a statement that we put on a web page, but it's actually broken down to a level where managers and staff understand what it means to actually live the value? When we understand the practical things day to day that we need to do, it gives the organization the best opportunity to be values led. And when every team is doing its bit to contribute to the values, there's this huge forward momentum within the culture, which gives it the best chance of achieving its vision. And that's something else that vibrant cultures do that you can copy. You can have a compelling vision, something that makes a statement of your aspiration, something that lights a fire inside of you, so that when you read it, you're like, hey, that's pretty cool. I really like that. That's where we're going. Now, what vibrant cultures do is they make sure that their vision is the North Star, that the strategy is built to deliver the vision. Once we've got a really compelling vision and we've got a really strong strategy, we know what kind of culture that we need to build across the organization in order to deliver the strategy. And that's another thing that vibrant cultures do that you can copy, is they then give their managers time and money and encouragement to actually go and build the culture required to deliver the strategy. Goals don't magically just achieve themselves. People have to feel part of something. They want to contribute something to create that forward momentum. And that only occurs when they feel that sense of connection. They feel that sense of team. Everything that I'm talking about here, they will do that in a day. They will do that in 2 days, make those agreements. And then something else that you can learn is they then write it down. It then becomes the team charter. And this is not some woolly, fluffy thing. It very clearly states, this is who we are. This is where we're going. This is how we behave. This is how we work together. This is how we learn from failure. This is how we celebrate success. This is how we prioritize our work. It's a team culture handbook. And what that does is it creates a standard that you all desperately want to contribute to such that you can meet it. As I mentioned earlier, you don't allow anybody to fall below that standard. And that standard then becomes the benchmark for other teams. And something else that vibrant cultures do that you can copy is that they share the information. When they get things right, they share that information with other teams. They want to see other teams succeed as well. And sure, there's a little bit of healthy competition around who can have the best culture. But actually, when we're sharing that information with each other, what we're doing is contributing to each other's success. Now, something else that vibrant cultures do that you can copy is to make sure that there's parity and there's equity agreement for everybody. Now, this is not about making sure that everybody gets exactly the same pay for everything ever. It's about making sure that people get a fair wage for the work that they're doing, regardless of their gender, regardless of their sexuality, regardless of any other factor. It's always about what is the job that you're doing and what's a fair remuneration for that. Now, of course, there are people with more experience who've been there a bit longer. They're on a slightly different scale, but there isn't such a disparity that it causes consternation and it causes division within the team. And experience brings me another thing that vibrant cultures do that you can copy is vibrant cultures don't promote people based on length of tenure or technical expertise. They promote people to management positions based on whether they've got the capability to actually become a really great manager. It's not about, oh, what do we do with Colin? We don't know what to do with him here. Stick him in that management role if he doesn't have the people skills to do it. Right. So what we're looking for in vibrant cultures, they do this, is they look for people with the capabilities to become great managers, and they give them a pathway regardless of age. But if they do happen to promote someone who's been there a long time and they don't quite think that they've got the skills, another thing vibrant cultures do is they actually support that manager. They provide them with the skills to be able to do what they need to do on a daily basis. And of course, it's a stretch for them, which is why they usually give them a coach, internal or external, to really help them navigate their way through the day-to-day of this thing called people leadership. And the last thing that vibrant cultures do that you can copy is that they have balance. That people have balance in their days. Now, that's not to say that people just create the conditions to suit themselves. Absolutely not. The team makes an agreement of where they need to be, when they need to be, and there's flexibility within that. But there's balance. Vibrant cultures aren't emailing people all throughout the night. They don't expect people to be online at the weekends. There's no demand that people take their laptops and open them after they've finished dinner. In fact, if anything, what vibrant cultures do that you can copy is they have leadership and management teams who demonstrate that they're in control of their focus, in control of their discipline, and that they make time for friends and family, because this is where we regain our energy. This is where we regain our focus, and it means that we can bring our best self to work every single day of the week. I hope you've enjoyed today's podcast on the things that vibrant cultures can do that you can learn. And I'm interested. Have you seen anything? What have I missed out? What have you seen in your organization? I would love to hear from you. If you've enjoyed it, please do share it. I'd be really grateful for that. Until next time.